The Furious is a 2025 Chinese martial arts action film directed by Kenji Tanigaki and stars Miao, Taslim, Joey Iwanaga, and Yayan Ruhian. Plot follows a mute father looking for his kidnapped daughter, joining forces with another man looking for his wife, both which have been taken by the same local crime syndicate. Yeah, I mean, it's a simple, to the point, very early 90s, I would say, style plot. Back to the days when you didn't really need an elaborate story as long as you had great characters and great action choreography. We saw this in some American action films of that time, and of course in all kinds of Asian movies as well. The Furious is a Hong Kong film with nods to, classic Hong Kong stuff, of course. I definitely see some inspiration taken from Jackie Chan's classic era, but the influence of the Raid movies is also pretty undeniable. I mean, that franchise, with only 2 movies, but, being considered some of the best action of the modern era, totally makes sense. Director Kenji Tanigaki actually has a martial arts background himself, so, he knows everything that he's looking for, and aside from, directing, he also has a ton of experience in stunt work, fight choreography, and even other things. And when you watch The Furious, it's pretty damn obvious. I mean, the first fight scene comes, I think, within like the first 30 seconds or so, and you never really go more than a few minutes before you get another one. And the fights are fun, they're brutal, never really mean-spirited, but there is plenty of blood and broken bones. For what I can see, a lot of the actors have extensive martial arts training, maybe even all of them. I mentioned the importance of great characters in action movies, and our 2 lead protagonists here are just fucking perfect. I wasn't familiar at all with Miao, but I plan on changing that immediately. His character Wang is instantly lovable and in some ways relatable. He's a single father, he's mute, like I said, so he communicates by either sign language or pen and paper, since most people can't sign. And he has a mysterious backstory, and we learn that he is from China, but he can't go back, and he had a traumatic head injury at one point. You learn this really early on. And now he lives, pretty much under the radar, working as a handyman while he takes care of his daughter, Rainey, whose mother passed away at some point. As a single dad myself, I could relate to Wang on a more personal level, because if we fail to protect our kids, we fail at everything, essentially. So one day, Rainey is kidnapped by a local crime syndicate, and he, of course, goes looking for her, and that's when he meets Naveen, played by Taslim, who is looking for his wife, who's a reporter that I was talking about at the beginning. She'd been investigating that same crime syndicate. And I know that Taslim has had a pretty fairly, steady career that got a pretty big boost from his role in Raid Redemption back in 2011, and he was also in both of the recent Mortal Kombat movies, but man, he just deserves better, and I hope people start to realize that. I would hope that after this movie, we start to see a lot more of him. He's just so fucking cool, man. We need to see more of him, whether it be in Hong Kong or American films or both, whatever. Just get this man more work. He's not getting any younger. So once Naveen and Wang team up, this becomes almost like a buddy cop movie, from the 80s and 90s, minus the more comedic stuff. Although there is a little bit of that in here, but it's this never turns into Tango and Cash or anything. And also neither of them are cops, but I think you get the point. So there is plenty of story here. Even if it's far from original, it's effective enough. You have 2 likable leads with a lot to lose, and they bring every bit of energy that you need on top of doing all their own stunt work. All of the actors were picked due to their martial arts and stunt work background, so there's no stunt double. This is a practical effects driven movie, just like it should be. This is pure classic Hong Kong action with shades of 90s Jackie Chan and a fair bit of influence from the Raid films, like I said. I'd say there's also classic 90s beat 'em up video game, structure with the henchmen and bosses and final boss fights. If you know what I mean, I think it would make sense to you too. So I'm giving The Furious an 8.5 out of 10 for the genre. I don't have many complaints, and the ones that I have just barely matter. Some of the villains take way too much damage to still be alive, but like I said, this movie can be, kind of video gamey. And I didn't really need the stupid police department, but the corrupt police chief did fit really super well. Very par for the course, for these kinds of movies. Very, very old school Asian action movie style. So, whatever. But any any very minor complaints you might have, if any at all, they don't really matter with characters as cool as Joe Taslim and Shi Mao. More of them, please. Sequel, maybe? Cheers, guys, and I'll see you at the multiplex. Subscribe right now, please.